First and foremost, I want to thank everyone for coming out. My name is Jeremy Beaver. I'm the CEO and founder of the world's first hip-hop museum, the National Hip-Hop Museum. I'm just going to say a couple words before I give the mic over to our executive director. But I wanted to show something on the screen, because this is what it looks like when you spend every single penny, second, an ounce of energy in a nonprofit organization trying to honor and induct and preserve and archive hip-hop. This is what it looks like. It's not easy, and let me tell you, it doesn't happen chronologically, and it doesn't happen the way we wished it would happen, right? There's a lot that goes into it. History, politics, time, availability, okay? But the reason why we have inducted over 65 of the biggest hip-hop legends of all time, the reason why we've been able to travel the country from Atlanta to Milwaukee to Burlington, Vermont, inducting and honoring these legends of hip-hop is because of a very special and amazing but small team. And I want to quickly let everybody know that this doesn't obviously happen alone. This happens because of a digital director that designs every single thing that you've ever seen from our museum. That is one singular person. Her name is CLB. Let's give her a round of applause. A lot of people don't know, because it's hard to display everything, but we have the world's largest collection of hip-hop artifacts. It's a collection that appraises at over $26 million, and it includes things like DJ Kool Herc's turntables and sound system that were used to invent hip-hop. I say this because those items and the entire museum exhibits exist also because of one amazing woman. Her name is Red Summer. Let's give her a round of applause. We can't do what we're doing without knowing the history. Do the knowledge, as they say, right? Okay, well, if you're going to do the knowledge properly, you have to seek guidance from somebody that the industry as a whole respects and believes in, who intimately understands how hip-hop came to be and what the most important touch points are. And we have the world's #1 leading historian. Let's give a round of applause for Jay Quan, our historian. We're all of a certain age, so I know we remember the movie Rain Man. Well, we have a Rain Man on our team. I'm sorry. You all, if you know him, you know I'm right. Let's give a round of applause for hip-hop's Rain Man and God's DJ, the one and only DJ RBI. Hands of God, that's right. Okay, well, listen, I know I'm not the most fashionable guy, and in fact, I try way too hard. But there's someone on our team who is. And he's invented, actually, a style of fashion that is donned by all of the legends in hip-hop. We have a fashion director. His name is Neil Taylor. Let's give him a big round of applause. We have original artwork at every single event we do. Original artwork that then gets signed by these legends, that is done to honor these legends, okay? And that original artwork goes onto posters and t-shirts, and it goes into our shop, and this is how we raise money for our events. It's not rocket science, but no one's gonna buy it if it's not brilliant, okay? And that brilliant artist behind half of the artwork you see in our museum is from the one, the only, Kevin Sean Lewis, everybody. We also have a creative director. Now, the creative director title is a little bit more broad because this individual directs us into what the aesthetic and feel and look and authenticity should be like at our museum. You may have seen some of his most recent works in these portrait boxes that look like machinery from 200 years ago that he remixes and creates for these inductees. His name is Andy Katz, so big round of applause for our creative director. If you've ever been to our inductions, you know that we always have a hip-hop cake. We have the world's largest boombox fabricated out of junk. We have the Death Row Records electric chair. We have all of these amazing items because we have the world's greatest hip-hop fabricator, the one, the only, DJ Devious, everybody. Thank you for being patient with this, but it's really important that we acknowledge the people that work so hard. That's why we're here. That's why we can afford to do this, is because we have a retail store that is the largest online retailer of hip-hop memorabilia in the world. I can't believe I said that. That's a fact. It's crazy. And the person that directs all of our retail sales and inventory is the one and only. Round of applause for Erica Parm, everybody. Now, real quickly, I know this is really long-winded, but we can't show how amazing we are if we don't capture it, right? Every single induction since day one has been captured by the Birth of Hip Hop team led by Cortez McKay. Round of applause for Birth of Hip Hop, everybody. And also, nobody would be here. Literally, our inductees wouldn't have gotten here if it weren't for our transportation director, Mark. So thank you, Mark Madsen, the most amazing transportation director. Okay? And I'm going to introduce our amazing executive director in one quick second, but I want to quickly let you know that today's induction is different than our other ones, and it's because we're here at the RIAA. We're trying to forge a relationship with the industry at large. We're trying to forge a relationship with an advocate that really stands up for anyone that's ever made a recorded piece of work. And just real quickly, my friend Mitch Glazer, the CEO of the RIAA, got a bill passed that will protect all of these recording artists from people monetizing songs through AI. So let's give a big round of applause for the RIAA and for hosting us today. It's really important. In 2003, I met KRS-One because he had released a book called Ruminations. It's a really important book. It's a really amazing book. And we forged a relationship over the weekend that consisted of him recording like 6 tracks in my recording studio and then ultimately endorsing our recording studio, Listen Vision. And that ad was played, that 60-second ad that he endorsed us with was played for the 20-odd year tenure of what then became the largest recording studio in Washington, D.C., where every single major hip-hop artist came out of. A lot of that is because KRS-One endorsed us. So to be here, almost literally 20 years later, having hip-hop's original master teacher endorsing the museum and presenting us with the only official declaration, the only official document in hip-hop, is really actually mind-blowing. And I think it's a real testament to the power of the magnetic power of hip-hop. And it's a really beautiful thing that we are now able to sit down with our inductees tonight and dig into them, right? And ask them, oh my God, you guys have worked so hard, oftentimes thanklessly, right? Now is our opportunity to thank them and to show them appreciation for everything they've done for America's largest cultural and financial export, hip-hop. Without further ado, the man who commercially brought hip-hop to the entire world. Round of applause for our executive director, Master G of the Sugar Hill Gang.
I'm Master G, my mellow is on you. So what you gonna do? Well, it's on and on and on and on and on. The beat don't stop until the break of dawn. I said a M-A-S, a G-E-R, a G with a double E. I said I go by the unforgettable name of the man they call a Master G. Where.
What's happening, everybody? Welcome. I just want to say, and I'm not going to be long-winded because there's so much and so many more important things that we have to do. I just want to say that I am humbled and I am truly honored that we have this kind of turnout, that everybody came to see us, that's here to recognize. And a lot of these people, and pretty much everybody sitting up here is a friend of mine. And so, you know, please give yourselves a hand and give my friends a hand because this is a great night. You know, being the executive director of the National Hip Hop Museum, to me, is a passion project. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that it is, you know, commercially known and, you know, world known that we did. Mike Hank and myself, you know, of course, brought the world Rapper's Delight, and Rapper's Delight is the thing that the shot heard around the world. And from that point on until this day, I've always believed that, you know, we move the world. And you think about the things that Curtis Blow has done, and Shante, and Sha-Rock, and Sweet G, and all the other inductees that we've had over the years. You understand that they're movers and shakers. And this is an important thing. So what I'd like to say is, first of all, thank you. Second of all, thank you. Third of all, thank you. Fourth of all, God bless you. Let's have a good time. I think the next person up is another friend of mine that I love dearly, and people try to put us in a controversial situation, but there's no controversy between this man and I. Oh, it's not. Okay, then I'll tell you about, that's another dude. That's another story. But this is another friend of mine, and he's a smart guy, and about, what, 10 years ago, Quan? Yeah, I was doing some other stuff 20 years ago. Quan called me out of nowhere and wanted to interview me, which is something that I hate to do, but the way that he spoke to me and the questions that he asked me let me know that he was truly invested. And I want you to remember what I just said, truly invested. So if you're spiritually, give him a hand. Yes, absolutely. You're here tonight, if you are spiritually, physically, mentally invested in hip-hop, you're in the right place, man. Give it up for my dude, Jaquan.
For a natural back, for all the pioneers, I'm going way back, 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 way back.
All right, how everybody doing? All right. All right, so we're about to start the podcast with the inductees. And my co-host in this podcast is the legendary captain of the Cold Crush Brothers, the Grandmaster Kaz, the greatest of them all.
Grandmaster Kaz. Oh my God!
The Cold Crush, the Cold Crush, the Cold Crush, the Cold Crush, the Cold Crush. Come on, the Cold Crush. Come on, the Cold Crush. The Cold Crush. Everybody, the Cold Crush. The Cold Crush. The Cold Crush.
Sing along.
Come on, the Cold Crush. The Cold Crush. A little louder.
Peace. 2-2. See how loud the mic get when an MC get on it? Salute to my brother Jeremy Beaver, to the National Hip Hop Museum, and to all the inductees. Make some noise for all of our inductees here today. Of course, you already gave it up for DJ RBI. My man Cash Money standing here, all right? Make some noise for Cash Money. There it is. I've been a supporter of the National Hip Hop Museum since its inception. Pretty much anybody who supports this culture the way Jeremy has shown, and his staff and everybody behind it has shown on a regular basis. I mean, not one time, not twice, not intermittently, but annually and regularly salutes and supports the pioneers of this culture. And you see the list. Well, the list that was up there on the screen before. How many people have been honored. And like I said, I'm all in. Salute to you. All right, let's get to it. Jaquan. Oh, here, I guess we'll switch up. Two. All right.
All right, so I'll start it off, and there's ladies first. So we'll start with the ladies. I'll start with the first MC of hip hop culture, Sha-Rock.
Give it up, give it up, give it up.
My big sis, Sha-Rock. So Sha-Rock, explain to me, you know, it's widely known that you're the first influential MC of hip hop culture, but explain your group, the Funky Four, later the Funky 4+1. Explain what it was that captivated hip hop and even the punk rock scene to the point where you guys were the first hip hop group on national television, Saturday Night Live, 1981, February 14th. Tell me what it was about your group that stood out from the rest of the organized crews at the time.
All right, so we're talking about the 1970s era, you know, where hip hop, you know, was on the rise. And when we're talking about hip hop, we're not just talking about the rap culture, but we're also talking about graffiti. We're talking about the MC, the DJ, you know, the graph writer, all of what encompasses what the culture was built on, and not just the rap culture. So we're young teenagers with little or no resources. Radio didn't know about us. Our parents knew about us. They were behind us about coming in late. If you came in late, you got on punishment, you got on restriction. But as young teenagers, we did everything possible that we can to help move this culture forward, not knowing that we would really help moving the culture forward into $1 billion business. So being a part of the Funky Four first, I became the first female MC of hip hop culture, but also the first female MC to be a part of an original all-male group. And later on, like within a year later, I became the +1. I left the group along with Raheem, who went over to become one of the members of the Furious Five. I left because of a battle that we had. And so with that said, our group split up. 2 of the members left, and I came back, and I became the +1 more. So I'm an original member of the original Funky Four, and then I went and became the Funky 4+1 more. But to talk about what was going on back then and how all of this played out, we didn't know that we were creating a business. Only thing we was glad about was going to White Castle, you know, maybe getting, real shit. We thought we was going to White Castle, getting, you know, them $2 burgers, getting enough money to get on the number 2 train, 4 train, 5 train, 6 train, and go back home. Enough to get us some grease to slick out baby hairs back. So, you know, Roxanne, Shante, we know that baby hair stuff they wearing now, that ain't new. We used to do that back in the days. You know what I'm saying? We started that shit, right? So with that said, you know, just to get enough money, you know, back then, Gloria Vanderbilt jeans was like $7. You know, I'm telling you, they're $100 now. But anyway, Gloria Vanderbilt's, Lee jeans, you know, jean jackets, whatever. That was our youth growing up. And to be here now to see what I and many others have helped created, I ain't never made no money for this. We got jerked growing up. You understand what I'm saying? But I think I think what I would like to say is I think that God has blessed me, and I would say Lisa Lee, Roxanne, Shante. And I say that simply because we didn't get caught up in the craziness that was going on. You understand what I'm saying? Or that may be going on today or yesterday or whatever. But I think, and when you really look at it, I think we were protected. Because we were young, we didn't know what was going on. We helped build the culture, and even though we became, you know, the blueprints of it all, and we took the beating for everything that, you know, some may have came after us, I'm still lucky to be here today to say that I am the first female MC of hip-hop culture. I helped created $1 billion business, and I'm here with my sisters and everybody else that have contributed to this culture. I love y'all.
Yes.
There it is. The luminary icon. Let me move over here to my sister, the queen, Lisa Lee. Y'all make some noise, give it up. Lisa, wow. She's one of the unsung sheroes of this hip hop culture, okay? And her flag is not waved often enough. She don't wave it herself. Okay, but we here to waive it tonight. Lisa, I just wanted to give our audience a little background on first on the Cosmic Force and your involvement with the group, and then Wild Style. Talk about Wild Style a little bit.
First, let me stand up. Thank you, DC. Thank you, DC. Thank you, DC, for having me, for inviting me. I appreciate that. A little backstory on me. Queen Lisa Lee. Back in the 70s, I took a walk to a junior high school, 123, and asked the DJ if I could get on the mic. Mr. Biggs allowed me to do that. The next week, my name was on a flyer, and I rolled with the Soul Sonic Force ever since. I eventually joined the Cosmic Force, which was a group, we did a song together, Zulu Nation Throwdown. I did a song called I'm a Pioneer with Rooftop Records. I appeared in 2 movies, Beach Street and Wild Style. I was grateful for that. I do want to make a statement before I talk about myself some more. I've been given plenty of awards and recognized, and I appreciate it all, but I've never been on a stage with 3 females at one time to be inducted.
Say that.
Into a museum. This is truly history. Jeremy Beaver, the Beav, my man, is a good dude, made this happen. So a little back I was with Soul Sonic and Cosmic, and I'm here today. I just want to thank everybody for having me here. I'm from the Bronx my whole life, and for DC.
Take your time, Lisa.
To show us this type of love. To feel it was this important to have us here today. I just want to tell you how thankful I am.
There it is.
That is.
There it is. Salute, Queen.
All right. The Queen of Rocks, Roxanne Shante.
Yes, indeed.
She comes from the world's largest housing project, Queensbridge. She doesn't talk about it, but she's responsible for your MC Shans and your Biz Markies. They toured, they got their start touring with her. I want to know from you, Shante, what was it about that growing up that made you the MC that you are?
Well, growing up in Queensbridge Public Housing, which is the largest housing project in the world, you have 15,000 tenants on paper, but 30,000 on any given day. Because if you grew up in public housing, somebody's always staying with somebody who ain't supposed to stay with somebody. So we don't count them, but we count them. And growing up and knowing that that was my neighborhood and that was who represented me and that's who had my back when I would go places, automatically let me walk with a certain air. When someone would say, well, I'm gonna bring everybody from my block when we come to the battle, and I'd say, and I'm gonna bring everybody from my block when I come from the battle. And then when you get there, you realize that they brought 20 people, but you brought 2,000.
Ooh.
So it gave you a certain air that you walked with when you grew up in Queensbridge. It's also a fact of growing up in a household with a very strong mother who also sent me outside. And I remember some of the most important things she would say to me on my way outside, especially when I would come back home. She would say, who'd you see outside more than you like better than yourself? Who'd you see outside you like better than yourself? And I'd come in the house and I'd say, nobody. She lets you go back outside the next day. And I didn't understand that, but then I started to understand it once I became an MC. Now, a lot of times everybody says female MC, female MC, female MC, but I'm a great fucking MC.
Wow.
My battles weren't in the park against my sisters because I understood that these are my sisters. So I didn't battle my sisters in the park. No, we walked there, and I went for whatever brother was on the microphone, standing there and ready to battle. Because I understood that even though this was a male-dominated industry, it was a male-dominated craft. At that time, I want to say that when we would go to the parks, automatically everybody would expect to see all male MCs. But I knew that not only as a little girl, a young lady, a teenager, or a woman, I knew not only were we as good as them, but sometimes we're even better. And to be honest with you, most of the times we even better. But I say that to say that that was the way we were pushed. That's the way it was. When I would travel with my hip hop brothers, it was an honor for me to travel with them because they would take me places and make me feel safe. So if anyone was to say, how did I feel about my hip hop brothers and what they did for me coming from Queensbridge, especially my entire Juice crew, they made me feel safe. And that's something that we always wanted to feel as female MCs.
Definitely. Respect.
I want to know, Shante, who influenced you to be an MC? If there was one person you had to point to, he was like, that's why I rap. That's what made me want to rap.
If I had to choose someone that I said made me want to be an MC, he wasn't even a rapper. He was actually a comedian. His name was Nipsey Russell.
Wow.
And what I have, or what I consider calling it, is a gift called the Nipsey Russell syndrome. I sat at home and I watched him on television and I watched him rhyme an entire show. Every response that he gave was a rhyme. And I said, you know what? I can do that. And I remember practicing it. And so if I had to say any influence for me, it would have to be Nipsey Russell because of his ability to make words rhyme.
Excellent.
Respect.
I'm gonna go down to the other end. I want y'all to give it up for Cool Rock Ski from the Fat Boys. Tell by that reception, okay? They know. All right, this is history here. Cool Rock, I want you to talk a little bit about the group and how you guys came together, and then how it felt playing the Fresh Fest.
Yeah, East New York, Brooklyn. That's where we was born and raised. So to this day, when Brooklyn took over hip hop, it was, you know.
Stop it. Stop it.
Everybody took it over at some point. Yeah, I ain't mad.
We took it over and never gave it back, though.
All right.
But yeah, we grew up in East New York, Brooklyn, and we started out as a 7-man crew, 5 MCs, 1 DJ, and 1 beatbox. So we was called the Hypnotized 5. So we kind of got the name from Fantastic Romantic, copying you guys and all that other stuff. So the other guys weren't coming to practice, so we cut it down to 3 people, which was Cool Rock, Prince Marky D, and Buff Love. So yeah, rest in peace to those brothers. And so we entered a rap contest. My sister told me about the rap contest. Said there's a dance and rap, a 10 pineapple dance and rap contest they're having. And so we went up there with a group called the Bad Boys. The Bad Boys made a song called Inspector Gadget with K-Love, if anybody remember that song. So we were like their proteges. So we went up there on the pretense of them entering the contest, and if they won the recording contract, they would put us down on one of the songs if they made an album. So we got to the Disco Fever, our first time at the Fever, our first time off the block. We didn't leave the block. We didn't go to the Bronx and Harlem, all that stuff. We stayed in Brooklyn. So we got to the Disco Fever, but before I even mention that, Buff wanted to call the group the Disco 3, and I tried to tell him there was a Disco 4. But he said, yeah, but we're Disco 3, so it's like, it's not the same thing. I'm like, okay, whatever. So we're Disco 3. And so we get to the contest, and we win the semifinals. Suffice to say, the group, the Bad Boys, is mad at us for entering the contest. We entered the contest because somebody put a number around Buff's neck and say, yo, you guys are next. So we went up there and we freestyled. And Curtis Blow was there. He was one of the judges. I think Mike C. from Fearless 4. Sweet G was there. That's when he had the Jerry curls. And so, yeah.
Crazy Leg.
Long time ago.
Crazy Legs was there. And so, yeah, we won the contest, and we went on to win the finals, which was at Radio City Music Hall. First place prize was a recording contract. We wanted the DJ equipment. So some of what you see in the movie Crush Groove was true. We did want the DJ equipment because we didn't know what a contract can do for us. We thought a contract was for like Sugar Hill Gang and Flash and Furious 5. You had to be professionals to be a contract. So we didn't want the contract. So we put a song out called Reality. our first song. I think it sold like 2,000 copies. And I think Charles Stetler, our manager, bought 1,800 of those copies. So it didn't do anything. So anyway, we hooked back up with Curtis Blow. We go inside the studio. He has a track for us called Fat Boys. We didn't like it because we was Disco 3. We wasn't no damn Fat Boys. So he told us to write. One thing about Curtis Blow, what he taught me and Mark was write your own rhymes, because that's going to be the money that's going to come to you forever. You know, it's going to be publishing and royalties. So we get in there, we write the song, and we get in the booth, spit the rhymes. Everybody loves it. So then Kurt was listening to me and Mark do some freestyle rapping in the booth. And he said, why do you guys always say that "brrr up, stick 'em" stuff? What does that mean? So for us, stick 'em at the time in East New York meant, you know, give up the goods kind of stuff.
Stick 'em, man, stick 'em.
So he said, yo, make a song out of that. I'm like, you can't make a song out of robbing people. He said, no, make a rap song.
It's that Brooklyn shit right there.
Make a song presenting Buff as the beatbox. And before I even go on about Dougie Fresh and Buff, we're from Brooklyn, Doug is from Harlem. We didn't know who Doug was. For us. You know, a lot of people always ask me who was the first one to do it. Right. I'm like, well, Buff was the first one to do it because I knew Buff. I didn't know who Dougie Fresh was. And that's no disrespect to Dougie Fresh. I'm just saying, you know, that's who I knew as doing the beatbox. So we get in there, we start to stick 'em, ha, 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 stick 'em. And yeah, the song comes out. Mind you, we're in 10th grade when the song comes out. And the song came out on a Friday. So by the time we got back to school on Monday, because the song was being played the whole weekend, we're like stars. So, so we're being mauled in high school, and the principal is telling us to come to the office and calm the kids down because they're going crazy and whatnot. So, yeah, we're just having fun, man. And, you know, so we took off from there. Curtis Blow produced the first album, produced the second album. First album went gold, second album went gold. We were like the second rap group to go gold, to have a gold album. I think Run DMC was the first, and so we were the second. So, you know, one thing led to another. We entered. We was going to audition for Beat Street, but we didn't get the nod. So then they wanted us to do a movie called Rappin', and we turned that down. Yeah, we turned that. Yeah, that was horrible.
That was a good choice. Right?
So Crush Groove came along, and we Rappin' was So Crush Groove came along, and we we got into that movie, and so after that we took off from there. Hip hop took off from there. Fresh Festival, Run DMC, Fat Boys, Houdini, Curtis Blow, Nucleus, and a range of breakdancers. And we toured twice with that particular tour. First Fresh Festival and second one. And this is at a time where radio still wasn't really rocking with hip hop, but we were selling out arenas every freaking night. So Run DMC was leading the charge. Houdini was
right behind him.
Yeah, right behind
him.
And Houdini had so many women, we couldn't count, so we left that alone. So, but, you know, we just had so much fun on tour, man. And, you know, Curtis was rocking the house every night. Fat Boys rocking the house every night. Run DMC, Houdini was bringing it every night, Nucleus. And so we got offered a movie deal, a 3-picture movie deal. The first movie was Disorderlies. And, yeah. And from that movie, movie cost like $5 million to make. So we kind of broke even with the movie. So, you know, I mean, it's been a good journey as far as what we did. We did it till the wheels fell off. So anybody who does this particular art form, I always say you got maybe 2 to 3 albums in you. Then your popularity is going to start to dwindle, but you're still going to have your legacy of good music.
Yeah, it is.
So you like to let the next generation come up and do their thing, you know. It's like KRS once said, you know, you're just another rapper who had his turn, so give somebody else another turn. So,
Cool Rock Ski,
yeah.
Y'all, give it up.
Right.
And don't forget, Brooklyn runs hip hop.
So it's a surreal thing to be standing beside the king of rap, Curtis Blow. For several reasons that I'll get into when we do his induction speech, but I became an MC officially because I couldn't rhyme to the Sugar Hill records because there was no instrumental on the backside. It was a long version and a short version. But his record, The Breaks, it's an instrumental, do it yourself. And I did it myself, and I put my little rhymes in with his little rhymes, and there's so many other firsts. This is the first MC turned producer. This is the first cat, Run DMC. You look on the credits, you'll see KB's name. So many firsts with KB. First assigned to a major. First to move to Cali, not just to move to Cali, but because his career dictated that he moved to Cali. So many things, and we'll get into that later. But I want to know from you, KB, people know you from the records, but you have a illustrious history before records, rocking with the Furious and things of that nature. But talk to me about your days as a promoter, City College and those kind of things. Talk to me about the early days.
Wow.
Queens.
Well, thank you, Jaquan.
Thank you.
Going back in time, those were the best years of my life. And I'm talking about the early 70s when there were no rap records. There was just 2 turntables, an MC, and a DJ rocking the house. And that was the whole nature, the whole mindset, the whole flavor, the spirit of what was going on during that time. The energy was so powerful. So I decided to embark on a career in entertainment. At first, I wanted to be a singer. I wanted to sing like James Brown, but I couldn't do that. Nobody could. Those screams were incredible, him and Sam Cooke, Jackie Wilson, people like that. I grew up on the Motown sound, listening to the music my mom's was playing by the Supremes and Aretha Franklin and the Temptations. And man, it was just an incredible, incredible time of music. And that inspired me to bank on a career, to be like these people that I stood on their toes and on their shoulders. And my whole thing was going to college and gaining an advantage over everyone else, because during that time, there were hundreds of rappers, MCs, we called them back in the days, that spun up from the years of 1976 to 79. Every neighborhood, every block had their own MC. Every block had their own DJ. And they would come out on Saturdays and Sundays and have a rope around them and plug up to the light posts, and you would hear this music from miles around. And I was a B-boy. I was a break dancer back in 72. And I met my friend Billy Bill. He was 3 years older than me. He's here. Are you here, Billy Bill? Where you at? Throw your hand in the air. Stand up, Billy Bill. That was my partner. Back in the days, we called ourselves the Hill Boys, and we were hard to beat up on Amsterdam Avenue, 140th Street. And those days were so very, very special. So I decided to take the culture into the classroom, and the classroom into the culture, because Billy Bill was in college. He was going to Bronx Community College, right? BCC. And so he inspired me to go to college, and I lived right next door on the North Campus of CCNY, which was 140th Street and Convent Avenue, right down the block from Kool Moe Dee. And speaking about Kool Moe Dee, on 130th Street, there was brothers that I met back when I was 14, 15 years old. Greg Johnson, are you here? Greg Johnson, my buddy, he was introduced to me by Billy Bill. And so him and there was another graffiti artist that we hung out with. His name was Spade, 130. I know you guys have seen that. He was in the movie Serpico, right? His artwork, Spade 130. So that whole crew, Manhattanville, the west side of Harlem and Grant Projects and Keith Sweat and that whole crew. And I had to go to CCNY because CCNY was the #1 party school in New York. This is where Reggie Wells went. This is where Eddie Cheever would come to our Finley Center, which was our party room, and we would have parties every Friday. Now, I went to the High School of Music and Arts, which was on 135th Street in St. Nick, right? Or St. Nick Terrace, I'm sorry, and Convent. And so I talked to Spade. He said, man, you should go to CCNY. That is the party school. So I was chasing after Reggie Wells because Reggie Wells was the program director of the college radio station WCCR. And they now call it WCHR, right? And so that's where my career started. Actually, it was way before that, being a B-boy with the Hill Boys and everything, going to places like Chuck Center and also, you know, the Factory West, and then up to the Bronx with the Executive Playhouse and the Evelo, all those spots, man. I remember going there every Saturday night with Billy Bill, and then Fridays, our Fridays was Pete DJ Jones. He was at a place called Nell Gwynn's down on 42nd Street. And those days I'll never forget because they, inspired me to do what I do here today. And you know, I want to thank God. I want to thank my wife, my lovely wife of 40 years. Shirley, stand up. I love you, girl. Thank you. She's the reason why I am never late to an appointment. Yes, I love you. Thank you for all the support. She was there from the early days. I'm talking about 40 years, y'all. Right? I love you. I love you. I thank you. I thank you. Also, my son, my oldest son is here, Curtis Blow Jr. Thank you. Yes, thank you for the support. My other two sons, Michael, my youngest, and Mark Anthony, I love them as well, and I want to thank them for all of the support. You know, I also want to thank God, because without God, there would be no hip-hop. God created hip-hop. God is hip-hop, and hip-hop is God. Amen. So I just want to thank all of you, and those are those. I mean, I can talk about this for 2-3 hours, but I'm gonna give you the mic back and say, carry on, carry on. All right, I love you all. God bless.
Curtis Blow. Real quick, Kurowski wanted to acknowledge a couple of people in the building as well.
Hey, yeah, so we lost Prince Marky D in 2021, lost Buff Love in 95. So their sons are here. Mark Jr.
Oh, wow.
And Quentin, stand up. And his goddaughter also is here. Chrissy is here. So, yeah.
All right.
Love is love.
So shout outs to them for being here. All right, fellas.
I'm glad you mentioned that. I was wondering who that big fella was. I thought Marshawn Lynch's nephew was up in here. One love. All right, let's talk to my brother DJ Hurricane.
Solo sound.
All right, now most of you know Beastie Boys, okay? You know, Afros.
Yeah, baby.
Well, we want to talk origins. Tell us a little bit about solo sounds, all right? And your Queens experience.
Okay, so I'm not from the Bronx, so don't kill me. But I'm from Hollis, Queens, you know, the hometown of Run DMC. And ain't that something? Yeah, so as a kid, you know, I grew up in a family of 6. I was the youngest kid. A family of 6. My sister, the older sister, she always had 2 turntables and a mixer in the house since I was a kid. And she would mix the record back and forth, and she'd take her finger and catch up with the record. So I would just sit there in amazement like, wow, this is dope. And I'd read the album covers, you know, as a kid. So then I heard DJ Hollywood rap. I don't know if anybody heard of Hollywood. And I was like, this guy's actually rapping on the mic, and he's DJing, so it really, you know, then everybody from Queens started trying to rap like Hollywood. But I was like amazed. So shortly after that, as a young kid, a cousin of mine started bringing these tapes from the Bronx. So I heard the Furious 4, and they were rapping over totally different beats. And it was a group. In Queens at that time, in the 70s, we didn't have the groups. We had like solo guys rapping like Hollywood. So when I heard the tape of the Furious 4, I was like, yo, this is incredible. What are they playing? You know, at the time, they was playing like 7 Minutes of Funk, and I hadn't heard shit like that. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, wow, I gotta find. And Flash was actually scratching. You know, we had heard of Bambaataa when we was in Queens, but to me personally, it didn't move me like I got moved when I heard an actual rap group and a motherfucker scratching a record. And they got routine. So we heard, you know, Furious 4, and then shortly after that, we heard Funky 4. So I'm like, I gotta find me a DJ. You know what I'm saying? First, I need a rap name, you know, and that was MC Hurricane. So then I found Davey D's brother, Tommy T, in 205th Park. And Tommy took me to meet Davey D. So we go to Davey D's house, me and my man Cool T. Later on, he was in the Afro. So we go to Davey D's house, and we get down with Dave, and we form Solo Sounds.
Dave is here.
Yeah, Davey D.
Davey DMX.
So we formed Solo Sounds. Dave was older than us. So, you know, he was the boss. He had the equipment. He had everything. He had everything the Bronx had. Come to find out, Dave used to live in Yonkers, and then he moved to Queens. So he had everything the Bronx had, and he had more. He had beats that I'd never heard of before that he was scratching. So I'm sitting, I was always a writer. So I sit there and I write routines. I grab like stuff off TV shows like the Brady Bunch. Here's a story of a man named Davey, and Dave's looking at me like, yo, he's kind of dope. So we start doing this kind of stuff in the park. You know what I'm saying? Again, I'm MC Hurricane. This is before Run DMC. You know what I'm saying? We was the first ones in the park actually doing it like they was doing it in the Bronx. So we rocking, you know, it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Then I'm trying to make a long story short. We was doing a lot of shows with Curtis Blow, and Russell used to promote Curtis Blow as like he was from Queens. He used to say, Queens finest DJ.
Queens #1 DJ.
Yeah, so, you know, I'm still young Curtis and I'm older than me, so I'm thinking Kurt really from Queens, you know what I'm saying? Because I don't know, it ain't like we got Google back then to know shit, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, damn, Kurt down with us, okay. So Run DJing for Kurt, and Run breaks his arm, and then Davey goes and DJ for Kurt. And once Davey left, I'm like, damn, my DJ left with all the beats and the, because, you know, with Davey, I was able to get the echo chamber. We had a guy that can make echo chambers. I was able to hold the echo chamber in my hand and press it. Hurricane came, like press it when I want to. And once Dave left, I'm like, damn, Kurt got my DJ. So, you know, then I just stacked up lyrics. But I wasn't actually DJ Hurricane, I was MC Hurricane first. And again, I learned from my older sister how to mix the record. But when I seen Davey actually scratch the record like Flash, I was amazed. And one time, Dave, you know, I kind of taught myself how to do it. Dave came up with this routine called a cypher. And we was battling Flash at the Fantasia in Queens. I think it was 78, 79. And Dave came up with the cypher. They call it actually the merry-go-round now. Davey D came up with that idea. And if somebody else say they had that idea or they did it, it would take 2 DJs to do it. So who was the 2 DJs? You know what I'm saying? So Dave, we named it the merry-go-round, and we was doing it in a circle, and we was getting busy. And then, you know, shortly after that, I'm trying to make a long story short, because I got a lot of shit to say. So shortly after that, you know, we go on tour, Run DMC blows up, Hollis Queens takes over, Run DMC, 83, you know what happened. The first gold rap record, you know, we going on tour around the world. Again, Curtis Blow was the king, no question. Without Curtis Blow, none of us would be here. He deserved the most props ever. He was the first superstar. You know, Curtis used to sit in front of my high school, Andrew Jackson, and just sit in the car. That's another story, Curtis. I'll talk to you about that. And when I was on tour with Run DMC, the Beastie Boys was the opening group. So me and Jay used to practice at Soundcheck. In the middle of the tour, Beastie Boys had no DJ. The DJ left. They asked me to do it because they had to see me practicing. Again, I'm still trying to MC. So I did it for them. At first, I didn't want to do it because they was kind of wild. They was throwing beer and all kind of crazy shit going on, you know, but then I did it for them. And then right after that, they dropped License to Ill, which sold 10 million records. And when it sold 10 million records, now I'm on tour forever. You know, my plan was to do a solo album, but once I got with them, now I'm very popular as DJ Hurricane. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, I got on tour with them, and it seemed like I was on tour for like 5 years. At the same time, I'm writing with Davey D on his album, Davy's Ride. Me and Davey dropped Davy's Ride. If you listen to Davy's Ride and you listen to like Keep Your Distance and Bustin' Loose and stuff like that, that was solo sounds. That's how we did it in the park, just like that. Like whatever we did in the park, we did it on Davy's album, except Dave wanted to sing a little bit all of a sudden. You know, Dave had got the jerry curls and the boots and shit.
Uh-oh.
But I'm gonna make a long story short. I just want to say, my wife is here as well. I've been married 34 years. You know, my brother's here, my nieces is here, Earth's Verse is here, my son is here. You know, so I'm gonna leave it at that. Okay. I could have kept going.
It's a good thing that you made that long story as short as you did.
All right, Sweet G. Sweet G. Not only the Fever, make you a believer. Not only great recording artist, games people play, hard beat rap, but the MC for the Fever nightclub. So, you know, you saw him on Crest Groove, you saw him on Tougher Than Leather. You seen him, you know, you heard him on the records, but this is the MC at the legendary Disco Fever. So tell me how you and Sal hooked up for the Disco Fever, and about some of the legendary things like the Gong Show and the infamous bathing suit contest and everything at the Disco Fever. Tell me about that.
No, I can't tell you about the back room. That was like the blue light room, and you didn't want to believe it. Anyway, I hooked up with Sal Abatello through his father, who had a nightclub up on 167th and between Jerome Avenue and the Concourse called Salt and Pepper. It was a jazz club. George Benson used to come up there and throw down a set. Ali, Sal's father, used to play the trumpet. And I got introduced to him by a friend of mine named Bull. Big guy, weighed about 400 pounds, drove a school bus. But we were good friends. I don't know how he fit, but anyway. He introduced me to Sal and his father wanted to do a club. So there was a building that was vacant on 167th and Jerome Avenue, and it was up on the second floor. And he said, well, you know, I'd like to open up a club down there, you know, to spread the crowd out a little bit. So he asked me, he said, you know, what are you doing? I said, well, I'm a group home supervisor right now in the Bronx. He said, when do you get off? I said, whenever I want. So he said, why don't you come give me a hand with this and see what we can do with this building? I said, okay. So we went up there, looked around, and said, well, it needs this, that, and the other. And his nephew, Johnny, was a electrician and also a hell of a sound man. So we were building the club inside of a building on the second floor. On our first night that we opened up after we had finished supposedly finished everything, as people were starting to come in, I'm in jeans and a t-shirt and sneakers and stuff, and I'm hammering nails on the stairway leading up to the second floor as we're opening up. Me, Sal, Mandingo, God rest his soul, and two barmaids were the only people at the club working that night. It was on a Tuesday, okay, a Tuesday. Who comes out to a club on a Tuesday? But we opened up the doors, and I think the fare to get in was $1 for ladies and $2 for guys. I mean, that's unreal. So when we opened up the doors and crowds started coming in, By the time we had been open about an hour and 20 minutes, we had over 450 kids inside this club. We only had a CEO of 250. So already we was in violation of the fire department. And there was only 5 workers to handle 400 and some odd kids. But they were very manageable and everything. We had this young man that was a DJ, but he was a downtown DJ, top 40, all that good stuff and blah, blah, blah. So when he decided to leave at about midnight, he would go downtown and spend for a couple of hours. He would always leave the DJ booth open and say, yo, G, you know, throw this tape on, this tape on. And I started saying, why I got to throw on a tape? I can do a little spinning here and there. So I got on the turntables, 2 1200 techniques, a Newmark mixer, and we had on the dance floor, we had 4 big cabinets with 4 24-inch woofers in each one. The sound was so awesome. You could be standing on the dance floor. You didn't have to move because the speakers was going to move you around. I mean, it was unreal. And I took over around about 12:30 in the morning because the club didn't close until about 5. You know, we had a long day. And I started spinning and doing a little rapping in between. My favorite was Cheryl Lynn, To Be Real. And as I'm playing, they would say, To Be Real, and I would say, Sweet G. Do-do-do, June Bug, da-da-da, Starsky. And people looking up like, what the hell are you doing? So when Sal came in and he heard that, he looked at me like, what are you doing? But the crowd was going crazy, though. I stood with the call and response, okay, which I give all the credit and do credit to Eddie Chiba and DJ Hollywood. We did the call and response, and Sal was like, what are you doing? I said, well, look at the dance floor. I said, before you came in, there was nothing out there. I said, the whole place is packed now, flowing with people. And he said, you know, that sounds good. And we got to talking and everything, became good friends. Sal has been my friend and my manager when my career started with rapping for over 45 years. We've been together. And we started, Sal told me, he said, well, you know, I wasn't that great of a DJ, okay? I could get by if needed, all right? But he said, where can we find some of the best DJs around? I said, well, in the parks. They plug into the light posters and go to parties and stuff. Grandmaster Caz, Flash, and so forth. So he said, let's go find one. So we went to one of the parks, and Flash happened to be spinning. And he was tearing it up. And he said, we got to get that guy. I said, how you going to get Flash? You know how much money it would cost to get Flash? He said, I don't care. Get him. All right, I get him. Went over to talk to Flash, and Flash was like, look, what do you want me to do? I said, we're trying to bring hip-hop music and rap music into the clubs. He was like, it ain't gonna work. I said, what do you mean? He said, look at this, all this is free. I said, yeah, that's free, but we're gonna provide an environment where people are free and are safe, that they can party and have a good time and get good music. And you don't have to plug into a light pole. And we have one of the strongest sound systems in the Bronx. So he came over, we wound up coming into an agreement financially with Flash, and Sal said, okay, I'm gonna give you Tuesday. He said, Tuesday? Who the hell plays on Tuesday? He said, if you want me to play there, I want Friday and Saturday. Sal said, well, let's start off with Tuesday. He said, it's gonna cost you double money. Okay, whatever you want. So we had that agreement. Club started jumping off. I mean, a lot of people that came up through there, celebrities came up there once the club started bouncing up and down. Bernie Casey was up there. Sidney Poitier came through there. We had news editors from Australia come out and do a report on us. We was in just about every entertainment magazine. We had the bathing suit contest, which I was the MC, which ran, I hear some O's, we ran that for like 12 weeks, all right? We had girls come out in bathing suits. They had to have a talent now, didn't have to be the body. They would come out and we had judges, and we had some real good judges. And that went on for like 12 weeks, and the winner each week would get $150. But for the grand prize winner that wins multiple times and wins in the finals, they would get $1,500. So $1,500, we talking back in the 70s, 75, 76, 77, 78. That was a lot of money. That was a lot of money. We also did the Gong Show. I was the MC for that. And we had some good talent. We actually did it, copied it after the TV show. We had a Big 8 gong, and the judges was up there. The person would come out, do their talent. If they sucked, boing, they had to go. Then we had Name That Tune, which myself and Junebug, we came up with that idea to do that. We had 4 contestants, and they had to tell us in how many notes can they name the name of this song. Well, I can do it in 5 notes. I can do it in 4. I can do it in 2. Okay, whatever. So we would play just a little beat. Doo-doo. What song is that? They would look at each other like, what did you do? We played, you said 2 notes. That's 2 notes. Doo-doo. And so that went on for about 10 weeks. We did that, and prize for that was another $1,500. And when we did the dating game, now whoever heard of the dating game in the South Bronx was a bunch of our people in the South Bronx. But the prize was, we'd had 3 guys on one side, a petition in the middle, and a female on the other side. She would ask them questions. She had never seen any of them before. Depending on their answer, that's who she would pick, just like the game itself on TV. And their prize was, check this out, limousine to a Broadway show and dinner. A classy date. I'm not talking about an OJ. I'm not talking about a Uber. I'm talking about a stretch, okay? And plus they got spending money of $200. This was a big, I mean, we packed the house every time we had this game. We had a full house. We had people signing up a month in advance to try to get on it. That became very successful. We did the hustle contest. I mean, we did so many different things that made the club so popular. When we did a fundraiser for the NAACP, and we stayed open for 24 hours, around the clock, and we raised over $38,000. And we talking about a club in the South Bronx. South Bronx, which they say was burned out and looked like a bomb had dropped on the place. But we raised over $38,000 and donated it on the TV show, radio show with Frankie Crocker. We donated all that money. He was like, where did y'all get all this? He said, everybody came in. We had people coming in and donating. We had, because we always had Brooklyn, the Bronx, every beef was now and then. But we had crews coming in from Brooklyn, crews from the Bronx. They would come in and say, yo, G, what y'all doing, man? Well, we were trying to raise money for the NAACP. They said, okay, I'm sorry, it's the Negro College Fund. I said, okay. The guy said, and I don't want to call his name, he said, how much you gonna need? I said, well, as much as we can get. He said, all right, take this roll. Took the roll, went in the bag. I said, man, that's $1,000. Somebody else came in, I can beat that, man. Here's another fish, $1,100. I'm saying, okay. We kept going, and it became such a big success. We did it every year, and it was great. I started doing rap. Well, my first record, like I said, was a Heartbeat Rap on West End Records, and then we did the first record on Fever Records, which was Games People Play. And that record,
That was it.
that record was produced by Curtis Blow, partially written by Billy Bill.
Billy Bill.
And Davey DMX.
Right.
Yeah, D. All right. We did that, and I had the opportunity and the pleasure to be able to be the artist on the record, and we toured all, we didn't tour, but we performed all over the tri-state area. Perfect. I mean, I was one of the first rappers, I guess is the first rapper, to perform at Studio 54. I was the first rapper to perform at Radio City Music Hall when we did the Tin Pan Apple concert. So that's my background in it, and I believe at this point in time, I believe I'm probably the oldest living rapper MC right now. And I'll be 72 tomorrow.
Perfect.
So we're gonna bounce it out.
Happy birthday.
Wow.
Happy birthday.
Hey, G, let me just say this, that song, Games People Play, was the first song I produced ever, right?
Yes, sir.
But
yes, sir.
It was #1 on all three radio stations, 92.3 Kiss and WBLS.
Exactly.
Big song, major hit.
What year was that?
I love you, G. 1983.
Yes,
Round
sir.
of applause
Yes, sir.
for
Thank
all
you.
of our inductees, everybody. Big round of applause. Okay, so this concludes our inductee podcast. Up next, the only official document in hip-hop will be unveiled for the very first time since its creation in 2001 by hip-hop's master teacher. Get ready, everybody, the one and only. KRS-One is up next.